Welcome back to Whatever You Need, the only place where we do not simply report the news, we unravel the tapestry of emotions hidden behind the headlines. Today, we are standing on the precipice of a story that has redefined the boundaries between professional admiration and personal longing in the Turkish entertainment industry. We are talking about a night that felt less like a promotional event and more like a cinematic reunion written by fate itself. Before we descend into the intricacies of this fascinating saga involving Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel, I must remind you to check your subscription status. If you are not yet part of our growing family, click that subscribe button now. For those who wish to support our deep dive journalism and ensure we can continue bringing you these exclusive narratives, please consider clicking the join button. Your support allows Whatever You Need to remain your primary source for the truth. Now, let us dim the lights and step into the venue that everyone is talking about. The atmosphere was charged with a kind of electricity that only exists when the past and the future collide in a single, breathless moment. It was an evening ostensibly dedicated to the premiere of a new television series, a professional milestone for Yağmur Yüksel. However, as the night unfolded, it became abundantly clear that the universe, or perhaps just the inevitable gravity of two intertwined souls, had a different script in mind. The prelude to this spectacle was deceptively quiet. In the days leading up to the gala, Yağmur had utilized her digital platforms to share an invitation that was a masterclass in understated elegance. The design was minimalist, awash in hues of warm gold and crisp, sophisticated typography, signaling a mature, artistic evolution. It was an invitation to a new chapter, yet no one could have predicted that a character from a previous volume would be the one to steal the scene. When Barış Baktaş materialized on the red carpet, the shift in the air was palpable, almost physical in its intensity. He was not merely attending, he was making a statement. Clad in a razor-sharp black suit that seemed tailored not just to his frame but to the gravity of the occasion, he moved with a deliberate, almost predatory grace. The photographers, usually a chaotic swarm of shouting voices and flashing bulbs, seemed to pause for a microsecond of collective awe before the frenzy resumed. They called his name like a mantra, desperate for a reaction, a soundbite, a crumb of context. Yet, amidst the cacophony, Barış remained an island of tranquility. He did not rush. He did not play to the gallery. When he finally addressed the microphones, his words were measured, devoid of the usual promotional fluff, and struck with the resonance of absolute truth. He spoke of Yağmur not as a former colleague, but as a force of nature, declaring his unwavering support for her artistry and expressing a profound, deep-seated respect. It was a brief commentary, but its impact was seismic. Almost instantaneously, the digital realm caught fire. The internet, that vast and often cynical expanse, was suddenly flooded with a sentimentality that felt raw and urgent. Video snippets of Barış standing stoically under the assault of camera flashes, juxtaposed with shots of Yağmur basking in the stage lights, began to circulate with viral velocity. The comment sections of these posts transformed into anthologies of modern poetry. Viewers were not merely reacting to celebrity gossip. They were projecting their own beliefs about destiny and timing onto these two figures. Observations poured in about the timelessness of genuine connection, how soulmates often orbit one another across vast distances only to find their alignment once more. Some observers noted that this was not a cheap nostalgia trip, but a demonstration of gravity, an irresistible force pulling two entities together. Others pointed out the dignity of their interaction, noting that mature affection is often quiet, lacking the fireworks of youth, but possessing a heat that burns far longer. Inside the opulent hall, the narrative complexity only deepened. Although they were not seated at the same table, a decision that smelled of careful public relations management, the space between them seemed to hum with an invisible current. Those with a keen eye for human behavior reported a distinct change in the room's energy the moment they occupied the same physical space. There were no theatrics, no desperate attempts to garner attention, yet the connection was undeniable. A fleeting glance from him as she ascended the stairs to the stage, a momentary softening in her eyes when a montage reel displayed a clip from their shared past. It was a masterclass in subtlety. This was the kind of awareness that cannot be rehearsed in front of a mirror. It is a biological recognition, a sense of knowing that precedes language. Then came the zenith of the evening, the moment that is currently being dissected frame by frame across every social media platform. During her speech, Yagmur paused. It was a heavy, pregnant pause. She surveyed the room, her voice dropping an octave, losing its rehearsed polish and gaining a texture of vulnerability. She spoke of stepping away, of creating distance in order to view what truly matters with a fresh perspective. While her words were abstract, the audience received them as a confession. The applause that followed was warm, empathetic, the sound of a crowd that understood the subtext. In that fragile silence following the ovation, a camera lens found Baris. He was not clapping performatively. He was smiling, a barely there, unguarded expression that cracked the facade of his celebrity. It was a look of such profound pride and perhaps relief that fans immediately began to debate its meaning. Was it gratitude? Was it the nostalgia of a shared journey? Or was it something braver, a silent acknowledgement of a bond that survived the silence? We must pause here for a moment. Bringing you these detailed breakdowns and analyzing the unspoken languages of our favorite stars takes immense resources. If you are enjoying this deep dive into the lives of Baris and Yagmur, please remember to hit the like button. It helps the algorithm find other fans just like you. And do not forget, for exclusive content, and to have a say in whose story we cover next, join the Whatever You Need community by clicking the Join button below. Your support is the engine that keeps this channel running. Returning to the events of that night, the story takes an even more intimate turn when we step away from the public gaze. A source close to Yagmur, someone intimately familiar with her pre-show rituals, whispered to journalists that Baris's presence was not an obligation but a specific request. This milestone was too significant to face alone, and she reportedly wanted him there to share the weight of the room. This speaks volumes about the foundation of their relationship. It suggests that beyond the romance rumors and the fan fiction, there is a bedrock of trust. Later that night, Baris posted a photograph that changed the conversation entirely. It was a black and white shot, artistic and grainy, taken from the backstage wings. It did not show Yagmur's face, but rather her silhouette, framed by the halo of stage lights, standing poised and ready. His caption was a study in brevity: when talent meets bravery, the work breathes. It was the kind of sentence that could be defended as professional praise in a court of law, yet felt like a love letter in the court of public opinion. It spread through the fanbase like a captivating perfume, lingering long after the screen was locked. The morning sun brought with it the inevitable inquisition. Reporters, hungry for a headline that would confirm the previous night's implications, camped outside the radio studio where Yagmur was scheduled for an interview. They expected a denial or a confirmation. Instead, she gave them a riddle. With a small, enigmatic smile, she simply stated that a quiet presence often speaks louder than the grandest speech. That single sentence did more work than 1,000 press releases. It validated the feelings of the fans without giving the tabloids a concrete quote to twist. However, behind the scenes, the reality was allegedly far more tangible. A technician from the production crew, a neutral observer of the chaos, later leaked details to an entertainment program. This source claimed that Baris had avoided the limelight for most of the event, choosing to remain in the shadows. But before the final curtain fell, the two allegedly found a pocket of privacy. The technician described a warm, genuine exchange, hands clasped together, fingers interlaced for a fleeting second, a gesture that spoke of muscle memory and deep familiarity. Whether embellished or entirely accurate, this description provided the fuel for a new wave of fan investigations. The detectives of the internet began mining old interviews, stitching past interactions together with this new context. They unearthed clips where Yagmur described how Baris could lighten the heaviest days on set with a single joke. They found old footage of Baris speaking of her glow, a luminosity he claimed could not be taught. Viewed through the lens of this recent reunion, these old words took on a prophetic weight. They sounded less like co-star compliments and more like the early chapters of a romance novel. 2 days post-launch, when the frenzy should have logically subsided, Yagmur reignited the embers. She posted a 10-second video clip, morning light filtering through a window, illuminating 2 cups of coffee cooling side by side, steam rising in lazy spirals. To the uninitiated, it was merely an aesthetic morning post. To the devout followers, it was a callback. They recalled a similar post from years ago on Bari's feed, a mirroring of imagery that felt intentional. Speculation bloomed like a nocturnal flower, fragile, beautiful, and impossible to ignore. This was followed by a grainy, paparazzi-style photograph circulating on forums, showing a corner of a boutique hotel lobby. The faces were blurred, leaning toward one another in intimate conversation, laughter suspended in the air between them. While unverified, the image felt emotionally true to the narrative unfolding. Of course, the machinery of celebrity management attempted to intervene. A representative for Yagmur issued a sterile, carefully worded statement emphasizing her gratitude for the support, but firmly redirecting attention to her professional endeavors, stating she would not address private matters. Yet, in the world of PR, a refusal to deny is often interpreted as a confirmation. If anything, the coldness of the statement only made the warmth of the rumors burn brighter. Even behavioral analysts joined the fray, appearing on talk shows to dissect the body language of the pair. One expert pointed out the specific tilt of Bari's head, and the exposure of his neck during their interactions, classic, biological signs of vulnerability and openness. This was not the posture of a colleague. It was the posture of a man who feels safe. Perhaps the most telling piece of this puzzle came from a respected trade publication, which reported that Bari's had recently declined 2 significant international projects, roles that would have required him to be abroad for months. Instead, he chose to remain local. While no specific reason was cited, the timing is suspicious to say the least. Was he guarding space for a personal development? Were they leaving the door ajar for a new story to breeze in, one that requires proximity? We are left, then, with a beautiful ambiguity. No joint press conference, no dramatic declarations of love, just a series of quiet choices that align like breadcrumbs on a path home. Fans are left to daydream about what a future collaboration might look like, 2 actors, older, wiser, bringing a matured intensity to the screen. Or perhaps, they dream of them away from the cameras, discovering who they are to one another when the scripts are put away. What do you think is happening behind the closed doors? Is this the prologue to a romantic reunion, or simply 2 artists paying respects to a shared past? And importantly, which other Turkish stars would you like us to investigate with this level of detail? Perhaps a deep dive into the hidden lives of Kerem Bürsin or Hande Erçel? Or maybe the rising stars of the new season? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single theory you have. At the center of this storm sit the simplest, most undeniable facts. He showed up. She let him in. They said little, but their silence roared. In an industry defined by noise and spectacle, their radical restraint feels like a promise to treat something fragile with the care it deserves. Maybe closure isn't always a locked door. Maybe, just maybe, the right kind of past can be the seed for a different, more beautiful future. Thank you for watching this special report on Whatever You Need. We are dedicated to bringing you the stories that matter, with the depth they deserve. If you enjoyed this video, please break the YouTube algorithm by smashing that like button, sharing this video with your friends, and most importantly, subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to check out the Join button for exclusive perks. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars because you never know when they might align.